In this video, let's real quick go through how to paste together two different surfaces and how to handle some of the problems that you might run into when you're doing that. Quick tour is that we've got here a large data set from USGS online data, and in this area right here, we have an in-house LiDAR data that we know is hyper accurate and recent, but it's only for a portion of the area. So how do we get these two together? Because we need the big one to show on our sheets. They're pretty close, as you can see, but in this area it's pretty different. So how do we get these two together? Well, it's really easy. You actually just paste the two together, but you can run into some problems when doing that. So let me show you. We'll paste them together, and then we'll look at the problem. So before we do that, let's turn these off. So we got a little less to look at. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to make a new surface, an empty surface. And we're going to call this pasted. And I'm going to set it to 2 and 10 working. Now that it's in here, I'm going to expand, go down to definitions, go to edits, right click, and I'm going to paste a surface. I'm going to paste them in the order I want. So the first one will be on the bottom, and the top one, and the next one will be on top of it, and the next one will be on top of that. We went over this in a previous video, but we didn't go through that problem. So let's just real quickly, let's paste that in. And now we're going to paste the LiDAR one in, and it's in there. Just that easy. But what almost always happens is at the edge of your data sources, they're not going to match perfect. They're going to be close, but they're not going to be perfect, and you'll create these little walls. You can see it's pretty substantial right here on this hill. So I don't like that. I don't want to see that. It looks like an error. You will see it if you cut sections and stuff. So how do we prevent that? Well, there's several ways, but there's an easy way, and we're going to show you that one first. So let's come over to here to our LiDAR, and I'm going to change it to border only so I can see the edge of it. So it's going to be right along that line. I'm going to extract this border. Bada bing. And it's now extracted. I'm going to convert it to a 2D polyline. We'll come up here to grading, 2D poly. And I did that so that I can offset it. So now let's offset it, let's say 50 feet in my case. Boom. What we're going to inevitably going to do, we're going to create a buffer here that we can play with. Now that I've got that, I've got a line and it's offset. Now I want that line to match the big topo. So the easiest way to do that is we're going to do feature line from objects. I'll come over here, give it a name. I'm going to call it buffer drape. I'm going to assign elevations and I'm going to erase. I'm going to go right here to elevations from surface and I'm going to choose our big one. And I'm going to insert intermediate grade breaks, hit OK. It's a pretty big surface, so it takes it a second to insert all those intermediate grade breaks because there's a lot of them. So now I've got a feature with a grade break at every triangle on the topo. So what we want to do is to make yet another intermediate surface. So we're going to make this. I'm going to call it LiDAR with buffer. And let's turn this off for a moment. And let's go to our LiDAR with buffer, and we're going to paste in the LiDAR. There we go. Now let's add this feature line. So I'm going to select it. I'm going to right click. I'm going to add it to break line to my LiDAR with buffer. Give it a name. Hit OK. Now I've got that. Now we can paste them together, and we know that it should match in this area to our big one. So we can paste them and get rid of those walls. So we'll come back over here. We'll turn this off. We'll turn our paste back on. Now we've already got it pasted together, so let's come down here to our edits and let's remove the LiDAR paste. Oops, so that automatically rebuild. And now let's paste in the one with our buffer. And there we go. It's together. Pretty dang seamless. You're still going to have a little bit of triangulation issue, but you don't have those walls like we had before. You can see. So that's one quick way to get a kind of a workaround when you're pasting stuff and it doesn't match. If you found this helpful, please click like and feel free to subscribe.